Hello there, my name is Will and welcome along to lesson number 3 of our drum fill concept series. In today's lesson, we're going to be diving deeper into our 4's and 3's concept as we look to change the orchestration and get the toms involved. Yes, I hope you're well, feeling good, feeling fresh, as we are back today for another look at our drum fill concept of breaking a 16th note fill into 4 groups of 3 and 1 group of 4. And today we're going to build on some of the ideas that we explored in lessons 1 and 2. So let's just have a quick reminder of what our drum fill concept is and how we've used some of the ideas already. Remember that all the drum fills in this lesson are a bar long and they're played in 16th notes. And what we're doing is we're breaking up those 16th notes into 4 groups of 3 and 1 group of 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or felt as 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. And in our first lesson, we were looking at moving those groups of 3 onto different sounds around the drum kit. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. However, in our second lesson, we introduced the idea of playing accents, and we were accenting the first note of those groups of 3. So we had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the accented note was actually landing either on the floor tom or the rack tom. So we were moving from the snare to the toms. So if you remember, it sounded something like this. Now it's really important that you remember and know how to play that for today's lesson, because what we're going to do is we're going to change the orchestration of that drum fill. When you change the orchestration of a drum fill, it means you're playing the same thing but using different sounds to communicate what you're trying to play. So what we're going to try and do today is actually reverse things. We're going to switch it up, and instead of playing the accents on the toms and the snares as the notes in between, we're going to reverse it round and we're going to try and accent the snare, and the notes in between will be played on the rack tom and the floor tom. So what we're aiming for is for our drum fill to sound something like this. You know what I mean? Right, so to get there, all we have to do is just understand where the notes land. So we're still using the same concept of counting everything in those 4 groups of 3 and 1 group of 4. However, it's just that the 3's have now changed. So rather than playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, our hands, let's start them out on the floor tom and the rack tom. And the first one of your 1, 2, 3 is on the snare. Then the 2 of your 1, 2, 3 is on the rack tom. And then your right hand is then going to move to the floor tom. So your first 1, 2, 3 is. Then the left hand is going to come down to the snare for your second group of 3. The 2 of your second 1, 2, 3 lands on the floor tom. And then your left hand goes back up to the rack tom for 3. So your second 1, 2, 3 is snare, floor tom, rack tom. We're then going to put these 2 3's together. And then all we're going to do is just play the idea twice. And then we're just left with our 4 left over, which to begin with, we'll just play all on the snare drum. So all together, your drum fill should sound like this, nice and slow. Bit faster. And then with a groove and a little bit faster. Now you might find that drum fill a bit more challenging because of the coordination is quite different to some of the fills we've looked at before, but do just take your time, and I find if you can get those first 6 notes down, then the rest of the drum fill comes a lot more easily. So just remember to keep it in single strokes and take your time to get that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Even though your hands are moving in a quite different way to how they have been before, you're still playing single strokes. That's the important thing, to keep it still right left, even though you're playing in those groups of 3. Okay, so let's add a little bit of spice, a little bit of stuff to that last drum fill. I'm going to change the group of 4. So rather than your 4 ending on the snare drum, this time I want you to play snare drum, tom, floor tom, floor tom, S, T, F, F. It's time to put the stuff in and add it into that drum fill. So now we have our 4 groups of 3. And then we're going to end it with the stuff, which is great because our hands are in the right position to start that. And that's how our group of 4 goes at the end. So we have you know what I mean? Let's give it a go. Really like that one. And when you get a little bit faster, let me just show you just a little bit faster, just so you get an idea of why it's worth sticking with. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Come on, come on. That was fun, right? You had a good time. I had a good time playing that fill. We're not done yet though, we're not done. There's more to add in. I want to take some of the ideas we had in lesson 1 and put them with that new orchestration we've got in this lesson. So, my 4 groups of 3, I'm going to split into 2. So I've got 2 groups of 3 and 2 groups of 3. The first 2 groups of 3, instead of being that concept we've just been playing there, I want to just go back to playing 3 on each drum. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And remember, keep it in single strokes. So right, left, right, left, right, left. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're then going to partner those groups of 3s with our tom groups of 3 that we learned today. So our full fill will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we have our 4 left over, which if we're filling up to it, is going to be our stuff fill. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a lot of notes going on, but it's going to sound great. So first group of 3s. And then the second groups of 3s. And then your 4 left over. All together should sound like this. It is a lot of notes, but if you really take your time, you should be able to partner them together because the ideas are ones we've already done before. Just adding in those groups of 3 from lesson 1 really makes a big difference to how that drum fill can sound. So let's try it one more time, just a little bit faster, just so you can hear it. Wicked, one last idea for you. How about we try and change the position of our groupings of 3's? So now we're going to put the tom 3's first as our 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the first 2, and then our 3rd and 4th groups of 3's will be the snare to tom. So now all together we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 into 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then still our stuff fill 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end. So nice and slowly to begin with. And then with a groove and a little bit faster. Gives you so many sounds in one drum fill just by changing the orchestration and then using ideas that we've already learned and partnering them together. We can come up with even more ideas on the drum kit. And I really want you to take the time to not be afraid and explore these different ideas. The drums are a choose your own adventure story, and you might start off in one place or with one idea and it could lead you to somewhere completely different. But that different place could be an amazing place. But you just have to not be afraid to play something wrong. When you first put ideas together, it might not sound great, but if you keep at it, keep practicing and keep experimenting, you can go to amazing places on the drum kit if you're just willing to not be afraid of failing. Don't worry about when you're messing around with the drum fills about them sounding bad. I'm sure that actually sound a lot better than you think, and also that's how we find interesting ideas, is by exploring and being innovative with the ideas we had. I hope from watching today's lesson, you're able to play some of these drum fill concept ideas and that you've enjoyed yourself. If you have, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your nan, show it to your family pets, show it to a friend, whoever wants to watch it and learn drums, share it about. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon. My name is Will. I've done it in the wrong order, but I love you anyway.